customers will be the dominant driver for change in retailers in the next 5 to 10 years. They'll be the ones that will force retailers to meet their demands for pricing and for experience, because if you don't match the two, you're likely going to find other retailers who will do a better job of it, bringing those consumers to them. And at the end of the day, consumers will dictate the direction and speed in which retailers move. And it's going to be high tech and high touch.
The best retailers right now have changed the way that they operate, have changed what their store does for a consumer, and the way that it sits within a shopping centre or on a high street. Costs of retail properties, and both in shopping centres on high streets, are very high. They've got to make sure they're getting the bang for the buck. Therefore, you've got stores which some retailers want to be smaller and more impactful. Other retailers want to have a much wider range, but less numbers of those stores as well.
I think we're going to continue to play out the big box, distribution and fulfillment models, but I think urban logistics is going to heat up. As a matter of fact, here at JLL, we've launched urban logistics practices, and in some places we call them city logistics, in some places urban infill, to respond to this. That's going to be the next challenge for us in the industrial and logistics real estate business.
The question is, how can I use my old brick and mortar network, and how can I leverage it in this phygital new journey? So how can I use my existing stores? Do I need to keep them, or do I need to remove them? And how do I link stores and then fulfillment centers to meet customer expectation?
The last mile logistics that a lot of people talk about is most important when it comes to major urban centres. Retailers really have to get it right. They've got to engage with their consumer, entertain them in the store, and get the goods to them in the shortest time possible.
One of the key challenges we are facing is finding the place where to position these urban logistics centers. So either we look at brownfields, or we look at repurposing some current locations, or we could be looking at car parks, we could be looking at underperforming retail assets that we could transform into urban logistics or infill centers. We could also look at sometimes the car park that is adjacent to these retail centers.
Multi-story has been here before, it's currently here. If you go into a department store, which might be struggling at the moment, many of them have lifts to all the upper stories, so parcels can be taken up, which is what happens in many of the very high-level Hong Kong warehouses. In department stores in city centres, you have lifts to the upper floors, you have car parking and delivery bays in and around the back, so it'd be very easy, actually, ironically, to adapt some of the retail offering that we have now right on the high streets and right where people actually live in many instances, back to some form of quasi-logistics.